This is Jilliana Ranicar-Breese, and I'm back with Adrian J. Andrews. Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
And Adrian is continuing about his career as a paranormal investigator.
Absolutely.
Okay, do continue, please.
Right. Well, I noticed that last week when we were doing the recordings, you keep calling me a ghostbuster, and I actually have an allergy to the term ghostbuster.
Oh dear, sorry.
It's not your fault. In fact, I actually do have on a jacket the
I know.
Ghostbusters logo, and which is a kind of in joke with myself because the Ghostbusters movies, as wonderful as they are comedies.
Right, okay.
And what I do is very, very serious.
Yes, of course.
I'm dealing with people who are on the verge of being driven from their homes. And as a last resort, they call someone like me in.
Yes.
But I'm also branching out and again taking in my training, branching out in the business into television.
Right.
And I've created a show called Paranormal Properties.
Okay.
It's dealing with people who are literally, in the case I've just outlined, on the verge of being driven from their homes, not people with financial agendas like people who run castles and stately homes, and pubs and clubs and inns and such like.
Regular people.
Regular people who really desperately need the help, and I'm at the last resort. There is always a hesitation contacting someone like me, in that.
Well, there can't be too many of you.
There are a few groups around up and down the country that will take upon themselves this kind of work, but generally people will use us as a very, very last desperate resort, because many people they've spoken to, if they've dared to speak about it at all, have ridiculed them. I'm sure there are going to be people watching this who are saying, well, the guy's basing his entire career on fantasy, which is what actors do. This is very, very real. I am a believer in the supernatural, only because I've had experiences myself. That said, I am not an easy person to convince.
You're a skeptic.
I am a healthy skeptic. If you came to me and said that, oh, my bathroom's haunted, you know, my toothbrush flew out of the cup and flew across to the other side of the room and smacked itself against the opposite wall, the first thing I'd say was, how much have you been drinking?
Yeah, but wait a minute. I once had a soiree with the Ouija board, and the glass was whizzing around.
Yeah, that is a very, very different.
Yeah, and it spelt out cave, C-A-V-E. Of course, I thought it meant cave, but it didn't.
No.
Yeah.
The Ouija board, I do Ouija board demonstrations.
Yeah.
They are very safe in the right hands, providing you know all the background and how to close and open them properly.
No, this was years ago. This was in the 70s.
The Ouija boards were created in the
Victorian
in the 19th
times.
century.
Yes.
As a response to the Fox sisters in
America.
Yes,
they saw the fairies. Yes.
No. The Fox sisters became famous because they were hearing knocking, and they were allegedly caused by spirit, and they were able to enter a dialogue. Now, you do see this on some of the television ghost hunting shows.
Who were the two little girls that saw fairies?
I can't remember their name. I have actually seen the movie and I read their case, but I honestly can't remember.
Anyway, they weren't the Fox sisters.
But they had, I know who you mean, they'd cut out fairies that they'd drawn themselves and pass them off as real.
Yeah.
No, the Ouija board. It was originally created by, I think he was a Chicago businessman.
What does Ouija mean?
Ouija. Allegedly, the board was actually asked during a séance what it wants to be called.
Oh.
I personally think it's complete nonsense. It's made up of two words for yes, the French and the German.
Oui?
Ja.
Oh, yeah.
There are even one of my heroes, Yvette Fielding, who hosts Most Haunted, does mispronounce it as Ouija, and that is very Ouija. Sorry,
I've said Ouija. It's wrong then.
Many do. It is actually Ouija.
Ouija, yeah, as it's spelt.
As it's spelt.
Okay.
But if it was created as a parlour game for little girls, believe it or not, and the idea behind it was that they ask the board, which was then known as an oracle board, if when they grow up they're going to meet a dark, tall, handsome prince, marry him and become a princess. And the spirits would allegedly answer.
In the affirmative, no doubt.
When the Chicago businessman was asked how the hell it works, he says, I don't care how it works. I don't care who buys it, as long as it makes me lots of money. So that's very, very irresponsible. I have actually been into a charity shop where I've seen one on sale in the window.
Gosh.
And told them...
I wouldn't know what it looked like.
There are very many different kinds.
Well, because when this Chinese woman, Sonia, did it, it was just the table. She just put...
that's the amateur way of doing it, isn't it?
Yeah, well, probably she was an amateur, yes. That's right, that's right.
That is one way of doing it. It's still effective. I will also state for the record that when films and television shows are made and there's a scene with a Ouija board being used in them, it's not just a drama. I would like to know who's supervising and who's giving protection, because as soon as you put a glass or a planchette on a Ouija board, whether or not it's meant to be for real, you are opening a doorway to the spirit world. And it is an incredibly dangerous thing to do if you don't close it properly.
What does that mean, closing it?
Close it properly. I've heard some absolute nonsense. I'm not going to say on camera what I do to close it, because if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be touching it.
So it's a bit like hypnosis. If you don't know how to bring the person back,
yes, I agree.
You know,
yes,
it's very similar, very isn't it? Yes, yes.
Equally as dangerous.
Yes.
But with that, you're messing with people's minds.
Yes, yes.
And their actual psyche.
Yes.
But if you're in any doubt, I mean, the most recent nonsense that was spouted off to me is, oh, I closed the board properly. I know what I'm doing. I blew into the glass 3 times. And what presumably do you think blowing into a glass does?
I have no idea. Tell me.
It does absolutely nothing. It's complete and utter rubbish. There is a way to close a Ouija board. If you do not know how to open or close a Ouija board properly, leave well alone. The horror stories are true. You are opening a door and you are offering an invitation for anything to come through that door. It's not the people who have had lives on this plane that you need to worry about. It's the people, the beings, the entities who have never lived on our plane. They are known as spirits from the lower realm. The Americans are obsessed with the word demon, so they call them demons. They live off negative energy. They are literally geared up to show themselves in any frightening form to elicit fear, because that fear gives them the energy they need to grow. So please, if you don't know anything about how to open and close Ouija boards properly, leave well alone. And that goes for any kind of seance. If you're not a professional and you've never carried out a seance properly, leave it be.
I think we'll finish on that note, number 10, and go on to number 11 and talk about something else.
Indeed.
Right.